This is the 2025 Ford F-150 XL, and we're here to answer, is this the last affordable pickup truck on the market? The F-150 XL is one of 8 different trim levels available, and because there's so many options out there, we're gonna go into detail on exactly what is included in this trim level. But back to the different trim levels, the XL is the base model variant of the F-150. Above that, you have the STX, the XLT, Lariat, King Ranch, Platinum, Trimmer, and the Raptor. And this video is going to be a part of a series where we've already got a few of these different trim levels out, and I'll reference those down in the description below. Feel free to check out any of those other different trim levels. But let's talk about, what do you have available in the F-150 XL? You can obviously get this vehicle in what is one of the most high demand vehicles out there, and that's going to be the regular cab V8. And yes, Town & Country Ford and TC Customs is back doing the sleeper F-150 program, but that's not what this video is about. You actually have the ability to go with that regular cab. You can go with the super cab, which is the 2 full doors and then the 2 half doors. Suicide doors is what some people call it. And then this, which is the crew cab, the 4 full doors. And in my opinion, I think this is going to be the spec that almost all of your XL F-150s are going to be spec'd in. I'm going to show you exactly what you get. This F-150 is a 4-wheel drive, but you can also get it in a 2-wheel drive if that's something that you're interested in doing. And as far as the engines are concerned, you have a couple of different options. You have the 2.7 liter V6 EcoBoost, which is going to be the standard equipment engine. And it's actually a really good engine because that variation is actually found in all of the Broncos, the bigger engine in that particular vehicle. In addition to the 2.7 liter, you also happen to have a 5.0 V8 as an option. And if you're with TC Customs, you can even add a supercharger if you wanted to, but that's optional. In addition to the 5.0, you have the 3.5 EcoBoost, which is a V6 twin turbo. It makes a ton of horsepower and torque. Now, if you're a fleet customer, you can even go with the 3.5 Power Boost, which is a hybrid vehicle. And so there's a lot of different choices as far as the powertrain is concerned, as well as the drivetrain. Now, the reason I'm so excited about showing you this particular truck is because of all of the equipment that you get in a vehicle that I think is going to be the way most of you guys would order this particular trim level. Let's start out talking about the tailgate. So notice that you are actually going to be, did you see how easy that was to lower the tailgate? Yes, you're right. It's not dampened, but there's actually a lift assist in here where you can actually lift it up with 1 finger. And the reason you can do that is because there's actually a torsion bar that runs through here to make the tailgate a little bit lighter than it actually is. So that way, if you're elderly or you just don't have the strength, you can still get the tailgate up and down. Now, if you want to go with something like a power tailgate, you got to step way up in trim level. That video is going to be coming a little bit later, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss that particular video. Now, this particular vehicle has a spray and bed liner that's been added by TC Customs. Now, you do have the ability to go with a spray and bed liner from Ford Motor Company, but some people don't like that, so we just opt to do it here at the dealership. So that's kind of what I like about it. Now, you're going to notice there on the inside of the bed, the reason I'm focusing in on the bed is because this is where you're going to spend most of your time in this truck. You're buying this truck for truck things. And so you have provisions for tying things down in the bed of the truck. You've got 4 of those. You'll notice you've got screw holes in 4 different places in the bed of the truck, so you can mount an accessory plate if you want to and have even more tie down capabilities. You even have some cargo area boxes in this vehicle, but keep in mind it's not available on some of the longer bed configurations, so you just kind of keep that in mind, if you will. Now, you'll also notice that every one of these F-150s comes with a trailer hitch automatically. It's a class 4 hitch, and it comes with a 4 and 7 pin connector located in this area. If you're getting value out of this video, make sure to hit that like button. But more importantly, you can order one of these trucks at invoice pricing. All you have to do is call the number on the screen. That's right, Town & Country Ford is selling these trucks at invoice pricing. Continuing on with the outside of the truck, did you know that every one of these F-150s come with a power tailgate lock? So that way, when you lock the vehicle, it locks the tailgate too. So that way, if you have a nice, secure tonneau cover or bed cover on the back, everything is secured and out of sight, out of mind. In addition to that, you may be wondering what a chimsel is. And don't worry, I'm about to tell you. That is a center high stop mount lamp that is located up here. It's a third brake light. But what Ford has done is they've actually integrated some extra lighting so that way when you unlock the vehicle, notice the light comes on and illuminates the bed of the truck at night. It's really, really nice. Even though this vehicle is not equipped with zone lighting, you still can see stuff in the bed of the truck just by hitting the unlock button. But the most important thing about this is Ford gets so much crap for all the things that they've removed in these trucks, like the keyless entry keypad system. I'm gonna bring that up in every video until Ford gives it back to us. But what they don't get is enough credit when credit is due. Things like the 36-gallon tank. That used to be like a $400 option. In today's inflation, that'd be like $800 option, but Ford now gives it to you standard equipment on a truck like this. Now keep in mind the regular cabs don't have as much space, so they've got the smaller fuel tank. It's a 23-gallon, but on all super cabs and super crews, you get a 36-gallon tank, standard equipment. Thank you, Ford. On the inside of the F-150 XL, this is where it gets interesting because you would think that this is going to be some kind of a work truck. And it is, but it also isn't. And let me tell you what I mean by that. First up, take a look at the seat. Yes, you do have a bench front seat, which some people love it, some people hate it. But what you may not realize is it's got a dual purpose. There's going to be a button located right here. You press that button and this front seat will actually fold down. And when you do fold it down, you've got two cup holders located right here, and you've got one of the coolest things set up on this F-150. So take a look at this. The interior work surface slides all the way forward. There's another button right here that actually slides over. So that way you can put your computer here and work out of the vehicle if you need to. Now the downside is when you slid forward, you lost those cup holders, didn't you? Yes, nope, you didn't. You've got two more located right here and a little bit of hidden storage if you wanted to. So if you wanted to put something secure back here, you could do that. Out of sight, out of mind. I think this is a really cool little setup. In addition to that, you also happen to have even more storage underneath the bottom of the seat. So people don't realize how much storage you're actually picking up with the bench seat versus the console. Yes, the center console in the normal F-150 higher trim level, it's got a lot of storage, but this is not a bad option. Moving on from storage up here, because there's more back there, let's talk about what do you get as far as the creature comforts. I want to talk about things that most people don't even talk about much. And things like this, the steering wheel. You've got a black urethane style steering wheel. You still have audio controls. You still have your voice activation controls. You even have the ability to manually adjust the steering wheel to where it's perfect for you. Now keep in mind, I'm 6'3" and I am not even all the way forward. You can scoot it. This is about where I would want to drive the truck in this seating position. And once you've got your seating position all set up, you're going to notice you have a massive 12-inch instrument cluster here. Now, they call this a productivity screen because it covers more than just your speedometer and your tachometer. It covers all of the parameters of the vehicle with digital gauges. And it goes very granular. It's really, really cool to see this, especially in a base model truck, standard equipment. And if this 12-inch screen isn't enough, you have another one over here that is also standard equipment on every single one of these 25 F-150s, whether it's an XL, XLT, above. It's really cool. You have the brand new Sync 4 system, which has got wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, but if you don't want to use the wireless portion of it, you have an auxiliary input, USB-C and a USB-A, so you can plug your phone directly into the vehicle to play your music, just in case your Wi-Fi or your Bluetooth isn't working. That's okay. Just plug it straight up and you've got that taken care of. In addition to that, notice you've got two USB ports, USB-C ports to be specific, in addition to the one you have over here. And you also happen to have your 12-volt plug located right here. Now, another cool thing is that if you get a four-wheel drive F-150 XL, every last one of them is going to come with this specific four-wheel drive selector knob. So a couple of things that you get. Number one, you have 2 high, 4 high, and 4 low. But what you may not be realizing is that this is a base model and they all come with shift on the fly, meaning that you could be driving while on a dirt road and then while you're moving, engage it into 4 high. That is a very, very beneficial feature versus having to do the old school way, and I might be dating myself a little bit, but having that manual shifter down here to change up that transfer case. You don't have to do that anymore. But the other benefit of this transfer case is you now have the ability to do four-wheel down flat towing. Some people call it neutral tow, but what it basically is you can tow this truck behind your RV without tearing up the entire gearing of the vehicle. It's a very cool feature. In addition to that, I have to talk about it. You have cruise control up here. We can do the voice activation. I've got Siri integrated in through this because of that wireless Apple CarPlay. And it's a work truck, so I have to bring it up. I cannot believe to you the number of people that still come, I want one of them work trucks base model. I don't even want them. I want manual windows and manual locks. Sorry, Ford doesn't do that anymore. Every single one of them is going to have power windows and power locks automatically right out of the gate, and that is a nice feature. Yes, I know these trucks keep getting more and more expensive, but Ford keeps giving you more and more things, standard equipment right off the bat. A couple of other things I want to talk about before we move on to some of the nitty-gritty of the truck is this. Take a look at this. Every single one of these trucks has got a switchblade key automatically. No push button start, no keyless entry key fob, but you at least have remote start or remote unlock, remote lock, and you have no remote start is what I meant to say. But what Ford has done is they've thought about that in advance. And so instead of giving you remote start here, they give you remote start here inside of the Ford Pass app. So free for life, Ford Motor Company gives you the ability to remotely lock, unlock, and remote start your vehicle right here from the comfort of your smartphone. The crazy thing is as long as your phone is connected to the internet, it can reach. You could be on the other side of the globe and your family needs to get in the vehicle, you can unlock it from your smartphone from the other side of the globe. How stinking cool is that? It's nice that Ford at least thought that through. Now let's take a look at some of the safety equipment that makes this F-150 so impressive. Now the first thing you just saw was me taking my seatbelt off. Did you know that this F-150 has a couple of cool technologies built into every single one of them? First thing, those seat belts are height adjustable. So whether you're 6'3" or 5'3", you can get that shoulder strap exactly where you want it to be. In addition to that, you even have energy management systems inside of the seat belt. Basically what that means is the truck can tell the severity of the crash and it will tighten up the seat belt according to that severity. So that way if you're in a light crash, you might not have it all the way tight. Or if you're in a very bad crash, it tightens all the way up, but it knows exactly when to release it a little bit. So that way you have less of a chance of breaking a collarbone in that accident based on that seatbelt. A lot of really cool technology that Ford has implemented into something you've seen since the 70s, a seatbelt. In addition to that, let's talk about some other cool technologies that Ford has given us in this vehicle. First up is Advanced Track with Roll Stability Control. That is a big old fancy name for basically saying there are sensors all up in and around this vehicle, and it's testing everything every single millisecond. The idea there is if the truck is getting sideways, it can tell that and automatically make adjustments to hopefully keep you on the track you're wanting to go on. In addition to that, those same sensors have a couple of other cool side benefits, like trailer sway control. Those same sensors are going to be looking, and if there is a trailer behind you, have you ever seen that trailer wobbling back and forth? The truck can feel that wobble, and it will automatically apply just a little bit of brake on the left side or the right side to automatically stop the truck and the trailer from swaying. Some would consider this a safety feature, but I'm going to talk about it anyways. You have LED reflector headlamps up front to make sure that you can actually see ahead of you. Now, keep in mind this is not as nice or fancy as the lights you're going to get on the Lariat or the Platinum, those kinds of vehicles, but it's still not bad anyways. You'll also notice that this one has the LED cornering lights that are also dual purposed as a fog light. The nice thing about this is if you're driving at night and you're turning sharp to get into your driveway or into any specific area, there's a big bright light that shines over here so that way you can tell if you're about to run off into the ditch or hit a curb. It's a really, really nice feature for my wife. I would love for her to have that on her Expedition because she hits all the curbs. But I want to keep talking about safety for another quick second because every single F-150 XL model and above comes with Ford's Copilot 360 Assist 2.0. It is a terrible name, but a great technology. In fact, it's a suite of technologies. And what does that mean? Basically, you've got cameras located up front in the windshield, and that one little camera mixed in with a couple of other sensors does incredible things. The first thing that it does is it's got a lane keeping system where it can tell if you're about to run off the road, and it can bounce you back into the lane if it needs to do that. It can even help detect drowsiness while you're driving. Now keep in mind, not everybody likes these features, and so you can turn them off or turn them on, but it's nice that Ford gives it to you standard equipment, and just turn it off if you don't like it. But in addition to that, that same camera system is looking for vehicles in front of you. And if it senses you're about to get into an accident, the vehicle can automatically apply the brakes in an emergency situation to hopefully lessen the severity or maybe even completely avoid the accident altogether. It's technology like that that is so impressive. And one of the reasons I'm so glad that Ford gives it to us, I would argue when it comes to driver assistant technology, Ford might be the #1 company out there for giving it to you as standard equipment. In addition to that, there's a lot more that Ford Copilot 360 Assist 2.0 actually can help you out with that. Like the intersection assist. It can tell if vehicles are going to be cutting you off in that intersection, and it can actually help you keep from getting in an accident. In addition to that, post-collision braking, where if you get in an accident, the worst thing you could do is to be knocked out and the vehicle roll in, causing another accident that is a part of the first one. It'll automatically clamp the brakes after that first accident. In addition to that, you even have a backup camera, which is pretty standard, and you also have backup sensors, which are pretty standard. But what you may not realize is that this vehicle even has reverse brake assist. So if little Johnny is playing behind you, the truck can hopefully see that and automatically apply the brakes and keep you from having a disastrous afternoon. The last thing when it comes to safety and security is a brand new feature called Ford Security Package. This is included at 1 year free of charge from Ford Motor Company. After that, it is a subscription model, but it's got some pretty cool things, like a start inhibit. Did you know that if you live in like a crime-ridden area, or if you're gonna be going and dropping it off at the airport and you're worried about somebody stealing the vehicle, you can get on your smartphone and say, I don't want anybody to be able to crank the vehicle, even if they have the keys. The only way you can drive it is to unlock the vehicle from your phone and then get in the vehicle and crank up the vehicle. In addition to that, you even get a comprehensive deductible rebate. So if your vehicle is stolen, Ford will give you up to $2,500 of your deductible back automatically. And the last little feature of this technology is the ability to actually have stolen vehicle services, where you can work with Ford Motor Company and the authorities to pick up and find out exactly where your vehicle is at any point in time. Now let's take a look underneath the hood of this particular F-150. This one happens to have the 2.7 liter EcoBoost engine. And what's crazy about this engine is it's not lacking in horsepower torque, but what it is good at is fuel economy. This is a four-wheel drive, full-size F-150, and it still gets 23 miles a gallon on the interstate. Mix that in with the 36-gallon tank that we talked about earlier, and this vehicle is showing 601 miles until empty, and it only has 3/4 of a tank. This is the perfect long-distance hauler, especially if you're going to be working out of the vehicle. But if you need a little bit more power, the 5.0 and that 3.5, as I mentioned to you earlier, it is available. Now let's take a look at the wheels, tires, and suspension, because at the end of the day, this is what can make or break a truck when it comes to being a good vehicle to daily drive. I mean, this thing is the #1 selling truck for like, what, 46, 47, 48 years, something crazy like that. Basically what we've got is a 17-inch wheel with this particular getup. If you go with the base version of the XL, you would get a smaller or different wheel, all of that kind of stuff. But basically what we're dealing with here is a Pirelli tire. It's a great riding tire, but the suspension is extremely important. So this is the same suspension you're gonna find all the way up through a Lariat on certain versions of the Lariat, that is. It's an independent front suspension, and it's really designed to take abuse. But what is really designed to take abuse is the suspension in the rear. This rear suspension is really tricky when you have it broken down like you're about to see it. First up, you have a leaf spring rear suspension, but it looks like there's just one leaf, and it's very different, it's very unique. In fact, it's a dual stage leaf spring. The idea there is when you're riding around, you actually have one spring rate. But once you are towing something or you have a load in the back and the vehicle is sitting down a little bit more, now it is on the second spring underneath it, which gives you the higher spring rate, which is better for towing, better for hauling. In addition to that, you'll notice the shock absorbers are mounted on the outside of that leaf spring. What that does is it gives you the torsional rigidity. That's the big word of the day, and yeah, it's kind of hard to believe I'm from Alabama, right? But it gives you the torsional rigidity to make sure that this rear axle is not going to be hopping all over the place every time you hit a bump. It's a really, really slick setup. Now, I want to talk a little bit about some other technologies we've not discussed yet, like auto hold. Because of these brakes, the four-wheel disc brake setup, and some other technologies built inside the vehicle, this truck, you can turn on auto hold. So that way, if you're in line at Chick-fil-A, you know, I like to eat, but when you're in line at Chick-fil-A and come to a complete stop, the truck will hold itself there until you ever so slightly touch the gas, then it'll start to roll forward. Now, the nice part is that's a feature you can turn on and off, and so if you don't like it, you don't ever have to use it, but it's nice to have it. And with that said, I have to ask you, do you think that everything I just showed you is worth $47,000? Yes, that's a lot of money in today's day and age, but I would argue that I showed you a ton of features to kind of offset that. And did you know that if you order one of these trucks, you can get it at invoice pricing? All you have to do is call the number on the screen, and Town & Country Ford, our sister store, will be happy to get you that order at invoice pricing. Thank you so much for watching this video, and have a great day. Peace.